Men over 60, put these 3 unusual powders in your morning coffee for stronger erections. Let's talk about something many men over 50 think about, but rarely discuss. You still feel sharp in your mind, right? But you notice your physical energy, your vigor. It isn't quite what it used to be. It's a private frustration. And let me tell you, it's a very common one. Now, most men just chalk this up to getting older, or maybe stress, or they assume it's just declining testosterone levels, an unavoidable part of the journey. But what if I told you one of the biggest factors wasn't your age at all, but what's hiding inside your morning coffee mug? A groundbreaking 2023 study from Johns Hopkins University, following over 12,000 men, revealed something truly shocking. They found that chronic inflammation from common breakfast habits, specifically the additives in coffee, was a 40% stronger predictor of poor circulatory performance than age alone. 40%. I saw this exact thing with a patient of mine, Robert, a 68-year-old grandfather. He told me he felt his spark was dimming, and he was a 2 spoons of sugar and flavored creamer kind of guy. Every single day, he was unintentionally sabotaging his own vitality. I'm Dr. Audrey Wells, and today I am not going to ask you to give up coffee. Instead, I will show you 3 simple, science-backed ingredients you can add to your cup tomorrow morning to support blood flow and help reclaim that feeling of vitality. If any of this sounds familiar to you, let me know in the comments where you're watching from, and please tap that like button and subscribe, because you will want to hear what comes next. All right, now that we understand the hidden saboteurs in our daily routines, let's move on to the powerful, constructive solutions. We are going to dive deep into our first section of the main content, the 3 simple ingredients to upgrade your morning coffee. Let's begin with our first one. Ingredient number 1, cinnamon, the blood sugar regulator. The first simple yet profoundly effective ingredient on our list is cinnamon. Yes, that wonderfully aromatic, familiar spice you likely already have in your kitchen cabinet. But I'm not just talking about any cinnamon. For our purposes, I want you to think specifically about pure, unadulterated cinnamon powder. If you have a choice when you're at the grocery store, I specifically recommend you look for Ceylon cinnamon. It's often referred to as true cinnamon. While the more common variety, cassia cinnamon, is perfectly fine and also contains beneficial properties, it has a higher concentration of a compound called coumarin. In very large, consistent doses, coumarin can be tough on the liver. Since we are talking about building a safe, daily habit for the long term, Ceylon cinnamon is the gentler and, in my professional opinion, the superior choice for this specific purpose. It has a slightly sweeter, more delicate flavor, and it's the gold standard for daily wellness. But here, right here, is where the first critical mistake is made, and I see it happen all the time. A man hears that cinnamon is good for him, so he decides to add it to his coffee. But what does he grab? He might grab a pre-mixed cinnamon sugar shaker, or worse, he goes to a coffee shop and asks for a few pumps of that cinnamon-flavored syrup from a big plastic jug. Please, I need you to understand this. Doing that is like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. You are taking 1 step forward with the cinnamon and 10 steps backward with the massive load of sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and artificial flavorings that come with it. Those sugary additives are the very things that drive inflammation and blood sugar chaos in your body. They completely defeat the purpose and will actively work against your health goals. We must separate the therapeutic spice from the recreational candy. The goal here is to support your body's systems, not to create a dessert in a mug. So the rule is simple: pure cinnamon powder only. So why is this humble spice so incredibly effective for male vitality, especially as we get older? Its primary superpower, the one that has researchers so excited, is its remarkable ability to help stabilize blood sugar levels. This is more critical than you can imagine. Let me explain. Your body is a finely tuned machine that craves balance, or what we call homeostasis. When you consume a meal heavy in refined carbohydrates or sugar, your blood glucose spikes dramatically. In response, your pancreas releases a flood of insulin to shuttle that sugar out of your bloodstream and into your cells. If this happens occasionally, your body can handle it. But a lifetime of these spikes and the subsequent crashes, day after day, creates a state of chronic metabolic stress. This constant roller coaster does two terrible things. First, it leads to those energy crashes you might feel in the afternoon, that dreaded 3 p.m. slump, where you feel foggy and drained. But on a deeper, more silent level, it's devastating to your vascular system. Persistently high blood sugar leads to a damaging process called glycation. This is a chemical reaction where sugar molecules essentially caramelize and stick to proteins and fats in your body, creating harmful compounds called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These AGEs are particularly destructive to the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels, known as the endothelium. A healthy endothelium is smooth, flexible, and can easily signal the blood vessel to relax and widen. But an endothelium damaged by glycation becomes stiff, inflamed, and brittle. A stiff, damaged blood vessel cannot respond properly to the signals that tell it to open up. And when blood vessels can't open up on demand, blood flow is restricted. This is the absolute root cause of so many circulatory issues that men face as they age. And this isn't just a theory, it is backed by robust peer-reviewed science. A landmark meta-analysis published in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition in 2019 reviewed data from 16 different randomized controlled trials. This is the highest level of evidence we have. The researchers compiled the data and concluded that consistent cinnamon intake resulted in a statistically significant reduction in fasting blood glucose and a major improvement in insulin sensitivity. In some of the studies reviewed, the participants who used cinnamon daily saw improvements in their body's ability to handle sugar that were, on average, 20 to 30% better than the placebo groups. This provides powerful, undeniable evidence that the active compounds in cinnamon directly support your body's metabolic machinery, which is the foundation for protecting your entire vascular network. To make this really simple, I want you to think of your circulatory system like the complex highway system of a major city. Your major arteries are the big interstates, but the tiny microscopic capillaries are the crucial side streets and residential roads that deliver vital goods, oxygen and nutrients, to every single house. Now imagine what happens when a thick, sticky syrup starts spilling all over those small side streets. High blood sugar is that syrup. The glycation process is that the syrup hardens into a sticky, impassable mess. Traffic slows to a crawl. Deliveries can't be made. The entire system becomes sluggish and inefficient. Healthy blood vessels need to be clean, flexible, and wide-open freeways. Cinnamon acts like a master regulator, helping to prevent that syrup from spilling and clogging up the roads in the first place. It helps keep the highways of your body clear and flowing smoothly. So, how do you put this into practice safely and effectively starting tomorrow morning? It is beautifully simple. I recommend you start with about half a teaspoon of pure cinnamon powder, added directly to your coffee grounds before you brew, or stirred into your cup after. If you stir it in, you might notice that it can sometimes clump. A very easy trick I tell my patients is to use a small, inexpensive milk frother, one of those little battery-powered whisks. A quick 3-second buzz will emulsify the cinnamon into the coffee perfectly. Start with half a teaspoon. See how you feel and how you enjoy the taste. You can gradually increase to a full teaspoon if you'd like, but there's no need to overdo it. Consistency is far more important than quantity. This isn't a magic bullet, it's a daily practice that allows the benefits to compound over time. I had a client, a wonderful gentleman named David. He's a 65-year-old retired high school teacher. He came to me feeling perpetually tired. He said, Dr. Wells, by 3 o'clock I feel like my brain just shuts off. I don't have the energy to work in my garden or play with my grandkids. He was a classic case of someone on that blood sugar roller coaster. We started him on this simple protocol. just half a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon in his morning coffee. About 2 weeks later, he came back for a follow-up, and he had this big smile on his face. He told me the most amazing thing. He said the best part wasn't just that he had more energy. The best part was that he had stopped craving sugar. His lifelong habit of reaching for cookies or a candy bar in the afternoon had simply vanished. And that reveals the beautiful synergy of this habit. Cinnamon helps to crush sugar cravings. When you have fewer cravings, you naturally eat less sugar and refined carbs. This leads to less weight gain, particularly around the belly. And this is critical for men because abdominal fat is a factory for an enzyme called aromatase. Aromatase converts your precious testosterone into estrogen. So by reducing belly fat, you're not just improving your metabolic health, you are actively protecting your existing testosterone levels. You get a powerful, compounding 2-for-1 benefit from this one simple spice. It was a small tweak for David, but it made a world of difference for him, and it could for you too. If this deep connection between stable blood sugar and your overall vitality makes sense to you, if you're seeing that powerful link, please type the word FLOW in the comments below. It truly helps me know that this message is getting through. Now let's move on to our second powerhouse ingredient. If we think of cinnamon as the great regulator, helping to maintain balance within our system, then think of this next ingredient as the great opener. It's the key that unlocks the highways we just talked about. We are now diving into ingredient number 2, raw cacao, the nitric oxide booster. Our second ingredient is raw cacao powder. I need to be exceptionally clear on this point, so I'm going to repeat it. Raw cacao. This is fundamentally different from the sugary, processed hot cocoa mix that you might remember from your childhood winters. We are not talking about the same product. What we are looking for is the pure, unadulterated powder derived from cold pressing unroasted cacao beans. This process is crucial because it preserves the delicate, heat-sensitive compounds that give cacao its incredible health properties. You'll typically find it in the health food aisle of your grocery store or online. It should have only one ingredient listed, organic raw cacao powder. It has a deep, rich, and slightly bitter taste, which is a sign of its purity and potency. And this brings us to one of the most common and unfortunate mistakes I see well-intentioned men make. They hear a news report or read an article that says, "Chocolate is good for your heart." Armed with this partial information, they go to the store and grab any canister of chocolate powder they can find. They might buy a well-known brand of milk chocolate cocoa mix or even a fancy gourmet hot chocolate blend. This is a critical error in judgment. It's like hearing that apples are healthy, so you decide to eat a diet of apple-flavored candy. The typical hot cocoa mix you find in the main aisles is often heavily processed with an alkali, a method sometimes called Dutching. This process is used to reduce bitterness and create a darker color, but it has a devastating effect on the beneficial compounds we are seeking. Scientific analysis shows that this alkalizing process can destroy anywhere from 60 to 90% of the very flavonoids that provide the health benefits. On top of that, these mixes are usually packed with sugar, milk solids, and artificial ingredients. So not only are you not getting the benefits, but you are also actively consuming ingredients that contribute to inflammation and blood sugar issues. The distinction between raw cacao and processed cocoa is not a small one. It is everything. So why is this pure, raw cacao so incredibly powerful for men's circulatory health and vitality? The entire secret lies in its incredibly high concentration of a specific class of antioxidant compounds called flavonoids, particularly one named epicatechin. These compounds are where the magic happens. Their primary role in this context is to act as a direct signal to the inner lining of your blood vessels, that delicate endothelium we talked about earlier. When these flavonoids from cacao enter your bloodstream, they interact with the endothelial cells and trigger an enzymatic reaction. This reaction leads to the production of a crucial signaling molecule. That molecule is called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide, or NO, is one of the most important molecules for cardiovascular health. It's a gasotransmitter, meaning it's a gas that transmits signals in the body. Its main job is to tell the smooth muscles surrounding your blood vessels to relax and widen. This process is called vasodilation. When your blood vessels dilate, the channel for blood to flow through becomes wider. This means more blood, more oxygen, and more nutrients can be delivered to every single cell in your body, from your brain to your heart to the extremities. This improved flow leads to better energy, better physical performance, and is absolutely fundamental for achieving and maintaining strong, reliable erectile function. Healthy erections are, at their core, a cardiovascular event dependent on robust blood flow. And the science supporting this is not new or theoretical. It is robust and fascinating. Some of the earliest clues came from studying the Kuna Indians, an indigenous people living on islands off the coast of Panama. Researchers observed that the island-dwelling Kuna, who drank up to 5 cups of a minimally processed, flavonoid-rich cacao beverage a day, had remarkably low rates of high blood pressure and heart disease compared to their relatives who moved to the mainland and adopted a Western diet. This observation led to more rigorous clinical trials. A landmark study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association in 2022 conducted a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial, the gold standard of research. They took a group of healthy older men and gave one group a daily beverage rich in cacao flavonoids, while the other group received a placebo. After just 1 month, the researchers measured something called flow-mediated dilation, which is a direct test of how flexible and responsive blood vessels are. The results were astounding. The men in the cacao group showed a significant improvement in their blood vessel function, with flexibility scores that were, on average, comparable to those of men who were a decade and a half younger. Think about that for a moment. They were essentially helping their arteries perform at a level 15 years younger, simply by consuming these specific natural compounds. To make this concept crystal clear, let's go back to our highway analogy. If high blood sugar is the sticky syrup clogging the roads, then nitric oxide is like the master traffic controller for the entire highway system. Imagine a huge city that can instantly add 5 new lanes to every single freeway during rush hour. That's what nitric oxide does. It's the signal that tells the construction crews, your smooth muscle cells, to pull back the barriers and open up the roads. It ensures that traffic flows freely, quickly, and without restriction to every part of the city. Many popular prescription medications for erectile function work on this very pathway. They act like a megaphone, amplifying the traffic controller's signal so it can be heard more clearly. What raw cacao does is more fundamental. It helps your body hire and train more traffic controllers in the first place, naturally and safely, leading to a more efficient system overall. So, how do you incorporate this into your morning routine? It is incredibly simple. I recommend adding 1 level teaspoon of unsweetened raw cacao powder to your coffee. It will impart a rich, sophisticated, and slightly bitter flavor, much like a very dark European chocolate or a high-quality mocha. And now for a pro tip that I share with all my patients, which can transform the experience. Add a tiny pinch of sea salt along with the cacao. I know it sounds strange, but the chemistry is fascinating. You will not taste the salt. Instead, the sodium ions in the salt react with the bitter compounds in the cacao, effectively neutralizing them on your palate. The result is that the bitterness is dramatically reduced and the deep, rich, complex chocolate notes are amplified. Most people who try this simple trick tell me they will never have it any other way again. It makes it incredibly delicious. This brings me to a final point which reveals the beautiful synergy of this ingredient. It's truly amazing. Not only does raw cacao work on a purely physical level by supporting blood flow, but it also contains a special neuromodulator known as PEA, or phenylethylamine. This is the very same compound that your brain naturally releases when you are deeply focused, when you feel a sense of joy, or even when you are falling in love. It's often called the molecule of love. So while the flavonoids are working to open up the physical pathways in your body, the PEA is gently supporting the mental and emotional pathways of engagement, interest, and arousal in your brain. I had a client, a 72-year-old gentleman named Michael, who had lost a lot of his zest for life. He felt flat. He started this coffee habit, and after about a month, he told me something I'll never forget. He said, "Doc, the physical improvements are nice, but the real change is that I feel interested again. I'm interested in my hobbies. I'm more engaged with my wife. I just feel more alive." That is the perfect illustration of this mind-body connection. Raw cacao supports the body's mechanics, and it also supports the mind's desire to participate. It's a wonderful, holistic approach to reclaiming your vitality. And that brings us now to our third and final ingredient for this revitalizing morning blend. This is the piece that ties everything else together. We've addressed the critical issue of blood sugar regulation with cinnamon. We've supported the vital mechanics of blood flow with raw cacao. But now, we must address the invisible force that can silently undermine all of that progress. I'm talking about stress, and our primary tool for this crucial battle is an ancient root that has been revered for millennia. Let's now explore our final component. Ingredient number 3, Maca root powder, the stress-fighting weapon. Our third ingredient is Maca root powder. Maca, scientifically known as Lepidium mayennii, is a cruciferous vegetable native to the high Andes mountains of Peru. It grows in some of the harshest conditions on Earth, which is perhaps why it imparts such resilience. For thousands of years, indigenous cultures have used this root not just as a source of nourishment, but as a powerful medicine to enhance stamina, energy, and fertility. When you purchase maca, you'll find it in a gelatinized powder form. Don't let the name confuse you. It has nothing to do with gelatin. Gelatinization is a simple, gentle heating process that breaks down the tough starches in the raw root, making its powerful compounds much easier for your digestive system to absorb and utilize. It's a crucial step that unlocks the full potential of this incredible plant. Now, before we go any further, we need to clear up a very common and persistent misconception that I see everywhere online and even on the labels of some health food products. This is the biggest mistake you can make when trying to understand maca's benefits. Many supplements will market maca as a direct testosterone booster. They will put it in the same category as other herbs that claim to directly increase your testosterone levels. Let me be unequivocally clear. That is not how maca works. If you take maca expecting it to directly spike your testosterone numbers on a lab report, you will likely be disappointed. Its true power is far more sophisticated and, in my opinion, far more profound. Its real strength isn't in trying to artificially add more fuel to the tank. It's in dealing with the single greatest enemy of your testosterone, an enemy that is silently draining your tank every single day. So, why is maca so profound in its effects on men's energy and vitality? The entire answer lies in the fact that maca is what's known in the scientific and medical communities as an adaptogen. This is a beautiful and elegant concept. An adaptogen is a rare class of natural substance that helps your body adapt to stressors of all kinds, whether they are physical, chemical, or biological. Instead of forcing your body in one specific direction, like a pharmaceutical drug might, an adaptogen works like a thermostat. It helps to normalize your bodily processes, bringing you back into a state of balance or homeostasis. The specific system that maca helps to balance is the HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. This is your body's central stress response system. When you encounter a stressor, be it a looming deadline at work, a traffic jam, or a worrying phone call, your HPA axis is activated, and it signals your adrenal glands to release a cascade of stress hormones. The most famous of these is cortisol. In the short term, cortisol is a lifesaver. It gives you the focus and energy to deal with a threat. But in our modern world, many of us live in a state of chronic, low-grade stress. This means our HPA axis is constantly activated, and our bodies are perpetually flooded with cortisol. And let me be very direct here. High sustained levels of cortisol are absolutely toxic to healthy male hormone balance. This isn't an exaggeration. Cortisol and testosterone have an inverse relationship. When cortisol is chronically high, it directly suppresses your brain's signal to the testes to produce testosterone. It's a biological survival mechanism. Your body thinks it's in constant danger, so it prioritizes immediate survival, cortisol, over long-term functions like reproduction and vitality, testosterone. And modern, peer-reviewed science has now begun to confirm what ancient Incan cultures knew through direct experience for centuries. The evidence is compelling. A comprehensive, systematic review published in the prestigious Journal of Ethnopharmacology in 2020 served as a powerful confirmation. Researchers analyzed the data from dozens of clinical trials on Maca, spanning over 2 decades. The consistent finding across these studies was that men taking Maca daily reported significant, self-perceived improvements in libido, sexual desire, and their overall sense of energy and well-being. These improvements typically began to appear within 8 to 12 weeks of consistent use. Importantly, the studies also showed that these benefits occurred without directly altering the men's serum testosterone levels. This proves that Maca isn't working as a direct hormonal booster, but rather by optimizing the entire system, making the body more resilient to the vitality-sapping effects of stress. To make this concept as clear as possible, I want you to visualize a seesaw on a playground. It's a perfect metaphor for your hormonal balance. On one side of that seesaw, you have your healthy, vitalizing testosterone. On the other side, you have your stress hormone, cortisol. In a perfectly balanced, healthy system, they work in a natural rhythm. Cortisol is higher in the morning to wake you up, and testosterone follows its own daily cycle. But throughout your day in the modern world, life throws heavy weights onto the cortisol side of the seesaw. Financial worries. That's a weight. Health concerns. That's another weight. Family issues, work pressure, lack of sleep. Each one is another heavyweight pushing down hard on the cortisol side. And what is the inevitable physical result? The testosterone side is forced down into the dirt. Many supplements try to solve this by bringing a crane over to artificially lift the testosterone side. Maca's approach is far more intelligent. Maca works like a master engineer who comes and reinforces the pivot point, the fulcrum of the seesaw. It doesn't lift either side directly. Instead, it helps your entire system become more resilient and balanced, so that the weights of daily stress no longer have such a dramatic, tanking effect on your hormones. It helps you maintain your balance in a stressful world. So the practical application is just as simple as the other 2 ingredients. I recommend adding 1 level teaspoon of Equality, gelatinized maca root powder, to your upgraded morning coffee. It has a very unique and pleasant flavor that many people enjoy. It's slightly earthy, nutty, and has notes of butterscotch or malt. It actually pairs beautifully with the rich, deep notes of the cacao and the warm, aromatic spice of the cinnamon. The combination of all 3 creates a truly delicious, complex, and sophisticated morning beverage that feels more like a treat than a health regimen. As with the other ingredients, a quick buzz with a milk frother will blend it in perfectly. This brings us to the final and perhaps the most important synergy of all. Let's be completely honest with each other for a moment. For men over 50, the accumulated stress of a long career, the worries about financial security and retirement, the concerns for your children and grandchildren, or your own health, it is a massive and often unacknowledged killer of vitality. Cinnamon and cacao work wonderfully on the physical systems of the body. You can think of them as optimizing the hardware, the plumbing and the wiring. But Maca addresses the software. It addresses the root psychological and hormonal component that governs the entire system. It helps to bridge that critical gap between your mind and your body, ensuring that the stress signals generated in your head don't end up sabotaging the physical performance of your body. It's about building resilience from the inside out. When you are more resilient to stress, you sleep better. When you sleep better, your body produces more testosterone. When your hormones are balanced, your energy is better. It's a powerful, positive feedback loop. This is how you create real, sustainable change. You address the root cause, not just the symptoms. If you have ever personally felt that undeniable connection, where a period of high stress in your life directly impacted your physical health, your energy, or your drive, just type the word balance in the comments section below. It's a powerful acknowledgement of how deeply connected everything truly is, and it helps our community see that they are not alone in this experience. So let's bring this all together. We've learned how to transform your simple morning coffee into a powerful wellness ritual. We've uncovered how 3 simple powerhouses work together in a beautiful synergy. Cinnamon, to act as a master regulator for your blood sugar. Raw cacao, to act as a powerful booster for your body's nitric oxide and blood flow. And Maca, to act as a sophisticated balancing agent for the stress hormone, cortisol. You now have a complete science-backed system for supporting your vitality from the inside out. But I know from my years in practice that knowledge without action is just entertainment. It doesn't create real change in your life. So I want to leave you with your doctor's prescription for this week. It is a simple, manageable, 3-step action plan. And please listen closely to this part. Do not try to do everything all at once. Step 1. For this first week, your only mission is to start by adding only the cinnamon to your coffee. That's it. Just the cinnamon. Get used to the taste and pay attention to how your energy feels throughout the day. Step 2. During week 2, you will continue with the cinnamon, and now you will add the cacao powder. See how the 2 flavors blend. Step 3. In your 3rd week, if you are feeling good and enjoying the process, you can now introduce the Maca. This slow, deliberate introduction is the key. It lets your body adapt beautifully and helps to turn this new practice into a lasting, effortless habit. Now, I know exactly what some of you might be thinking right now. A little voice in your head might be saying, "This sounds a bit complicated," or maybe, "What if I just don't like the taste?" Let me address that directly. I can assure you the entire process takes less than 30 seconds a day. It is far, far simpler than trying to learn a whole new diet or starting a complicated exercise regimen. And as for the taste, I can tell you that the vast majority of my patients who were initially skeptical actually grow to love the rich, complex, and satisfying flavor. They tell me it makes their morning coffee feel like a genuine, healthy indulgence. And you might also be thinking, is this one small change, this one cup of coffee, really enough to make a difference? And my answer is an emphatic yes. Real, lasting change in your health never comes from giant, overwhelming leaps. It comes from small, intelligent, consistent steps, repeated over time. Please do not get discouraged if you don't feel a dramatic shift in a week. Your body needs time to respond to this new support. Trust the process. Because remember, this isn't just about improving a number on a lab report or even just about erectile function. This goes so much deeper than that. This is about reclaiming your vitality. It's about taking back control. It's about having the physical energy and the strength to get down on the floor and play with your grandkids without worrying about how you'll get back up. It's about having the stamina and the confidence to travel with your partner and create new memories. It's about living independently with strength and with dignity for all the years to come. That is the real prize. Your future self is counting on the small, wise choices you make today. Every single day of inaction is a day you are not investing in your most valuable asset on this earth, your own health and well-being. So if you are ready, if you are committed to making a change, no matter how small it may seem, I invite you to join our growing community of men who are actively taking charge of their health. Please take a moment to hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss out on our future science-backed health guides. And more importantly, go to the comments section right now and write 2 simple words. Day 1. This isn't for me. This is for you. This is your public commitment to yourself. It's a powerful declaration that today is the day you start. Let's support each other on this journey. Thank you for investing your valuable time with me today. I truly appreciate it. In our next video, we will explore the single biggest mistake that men over 50 make at breakfast, a common habit that is scientifically proven to drain your afternoon energy and sabotage your hormonal health. You will not want to miss that one. Until then, remember, your health is your greatest asset. Take charge of it.